One day in high school, we all took an aptitude test to see what we were destined to be. We laughed at the results. I was supposed to be a respiratory therapist. My friend Betsy was supposed to be a truck driver. Betsy ended up working as a nurse. I ended up a writer. Who knew? Somewhere inside, we did. Somewhere inside, we all know. We just do a great job of burying our deepest passions. I did everything in my power to avoid using my talents. I buried them as deep as I could, and I resisted anyone who came at me with a shovel. In 9th grade, my English teacher, Mr. Rico, made us write a paragraph each week. I balked. I wrote mine right before class and picked the most boring subjects to wear him down. Instead, he wore me down and polished me into a writer without my knowing it. Still, I resisted. I never wrote for the high school newspaper or yearbook or took any creative writing classes. I was too scared of the one thing I desperately wanted to be: a writer. So many of us know deep inside that one thing we were meant to do, would love to do, but it's too scary to actually do it because we might fail at it. So we leave it buried inside where it will be safe, untouched, and untapped. The dream and desire to do it seems so much safer than actually taking action and risking failure and rejection. I wrote in secret, filling diaries and journals. One day, out of bravery or ignorance, I let my sisters read them. Later, when I realized what I had done, I took the diaries to the metal trash drum in the backyard and burned them. As the flames ate my words, it seemed they were putting out the fire in me. The embers still burned. In 10th grade, when I read Henry David Thoreau, something in my soul expanded. It was like I could take in more breath. I didn't have enough money to buy my own copy of Walden, so I copied the text from the school's copy, word for word, starting with why he went into the woods. To avoid writing, I almost ended up in the woods for a living. We've all heard that saying, man plans, God laughs. Had my plans been blessed by the gods, I would have ended up a forest ranger. I was too scared to be a writer, so I turned to conservation for a college major when I turned away from writing. How ironic that I ended up as a journalist, filling newspapers and books with words. I pray that those forest rangers preserve enough trees to keep me in business. I have loved newspapers ever since I was a toddler sitting on the floor near my father's steel-toed work boots as he buried his face in the daily news. I pretended to read whatever section he dropped on the floor, curious about what mesmerized my dad after a long day spent patching up a hot roof. When my mom had time to read, which was close to never while raising 11 children, she loved newspaper columnist Irma Bombeck. Irma made writing look so easy, and it was, in my diary. There it stayed, safe and sound for years. I buried my talents out of fear they would never be good enough. I ignored the call to use my talents. I kept telling God I wasn't ready until one day it hit me. What if God stopped asking? What's scarier than God calling you to use your talents is the thought that God will stop calling you and go elsewhere. The parable of the talents in the Bible haunted me. A nobleman gave one of his servants 5 talents, another 2, and another man 1 talent. As time went on, the man with the 5 talents traded with them and made 5 more talents. The one with 2 talents doubled his as well. The man with 1 talent dug a hole in the ground and hid the money out of fear. When the master came back, he rewarded the first 2 men. The man who buried his talent returned it unused. The master was angry, took the talent, and tossed the servant out. The master told the first 2 men, "To everyone who has will more be given, and he will have an abundance. You have been faithful over a little, therefore I will make you lord over much." See Matthew 25. When you have been faithful with what you have been given, you get more. You won't get more talents until you use what you've already been given. We're all gifted, but some people never open their packages. We each have a calling, a vocation, a particular